Welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. Each week, my guests and I discuss one pivotal moment in their life, what they learned from it, and their words of wisdom. Life-altering change doesn't always come in a single pivotal moment. For our guest, it was a long 5-year period that changed everything. It began with the end of a marriage. Then came a parent's Alzheimer's diagnosis and the long, emotional journey of caregiving. In the midst of it all, she sensed something wasn't right with her own health, and by advocating for answers, discovered a rare form of breast cancer. Not long after, her father passed, a loss that took a deep physical, mental, and emotional toll. Then, during a quiet moment at a family cottage, her body sent another signal, a strange sensation, a feeling that couldn't be ignored. What she thought was a panic attack turned out to be SCAD, a rare type of heart attack. This is a story about listening to your body, about the power of community, and about finding unexpected gifts in life's hardest pivots. Welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. I am so happy that you joined us today, and we have a really special guest with us, which is Tara Talbot. So Tara goes by many different titles. She is a mother and daughter, a sister, an aunt, a wife, a former wife. She is a senior executive. She is a community sharer, you name it. She's got lots of titles, but my favorite title is best friend. So like many typical people in Canada, Tara and I, our paths crossed in a hockey arena. I mean, how stereotypical of Canada can you get? Watching our sons play hockey, and we became instant friends, and our paths have just sort of, our lives have worked well together, and we've raised our kids together. We've left marriages. We've got remarried. We've unfortunately both had a parent pass. And there's been a lot, right? Our careers have ebbed and flowed all at the same time. And I'm just so grateful for you as a near and dear friend, and I'm really excited for our conversation today. And with any luck, we won't need to use the Kleenex, but if you're a betting person, don't take that bet.
I would say that would be a miracle if I get through this without crying. But I want to thank you so much for having me. Awesome. And, you know, I've been a little hesitant and nervous about coming, but I'm thrilled to be here. And, you know, you and your whole family, you're our soul family. So who else would I rather have this conversation with?
That's so great. Thank you. So as you know, this podcast is centered and anchored on one question, which is, what is one pivotal moment in your life? And the reason that I created the podcast around that one question is, while we go through our multiple pivots and moments, that there seems to always be this sense of it's just me, and a sense of loneliness. And in actual fact, what I've learned is when we share our stories, it's amazing the community that you can find, and that in actual fact, you're not alone. It's quite the opposite, that there's tons of people out there that can relate to you, that can help you. And not everybody is fortunate to have a Tara in their life. So it's these conversations I find really meaningful, because it really gives an opportunity for people to tell their stories. So let me start by asking you the question, what is one pivotal moment in your life?
So as we talked about, I think my answer to the question isn't that there was one pivotal moment. At this stage, I think there was a pivotal period in my life, probably a 5-year period from about 2016, late 2016 to late 2021, and that just a lot happened. And I know many people can relate to that, because I'm humbled every day by how much people are carrying around, in their day-to-day life, still getting through it. So, and sometimes it feels like it comes in waves. And I would say that 5 years for me was a time when there were a lot of waves, a lot of blessings, a lot of beautiful things, a lot of gifts, and some of the hardest times that I've ever experienced.
Okay. So what was your first moment? What was your first wave within that 5-year period?
So there were a number of things. What began was really the end of my marriage, which was official in 2016. And, we ended in a way that was very amicable, still consider each other family, still consider each other really close friends. So again, there's a gift in that. And there's a lot that comes with that, as we all know. There's, you walk through those doors and it may be the right thing to do for everyone involved. And there's still a lot of challenges. So it meant moving houses. We obviously had young kids that needed to endure the transition. And you don't know what you don't know until you walk the path. Right. So, but we all got each other through it. But it was hard. And at the same time, the next thing that really happened was around the time of the separation, my parents, who had been living in the East Coast, came back to Ontario, and they lived very close to us, which was also a complete gift. At the time, my dad had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and his disease was progressing. So it was an opportunity for my mom and I to really support each other, and of course, support my dad and the kids and everything through what we were going through, what they were going through, and they lived around the corner, and it was a really beautiful time. And we also figured out what it means to support someone who has Alzheimer's and to love someone and walk with them through that journey, which is also, as many, many people know, not an easy one.
Not at all.
And eventually that led to, I think increased stress, all kinds of things. But it felt like a lot. And in 2019, I had already met my current husband, and so he was in my life, though early days. And I sort of felt there was something wrong. I had some dryness on my nipple, and I thought, oh, I'm perimenopausal. I'm in my mid 40s, I guess, at that time. There's so much going on. Yeah. So, I went to the doctor once, got some sort of cream. It didn't get exponentially worse, but it didn't go away. So over time, though I was busy, I didn't do anything about it. But it definitely, I didn't forget about it, let's say. It naggled me in the back of my mind. And I still remember looking things up on Google, looking at pictures, all the things they tell you, Google. Everything they tell you not to do, I did it. I think many, many of us do. You're late at night and you're looking at pictures, and I sort of felt, I think I know what this is. And again, you can go lots of places in your brain that aren't necessarily so healthy. So I ended up eventually going to my doctor and saying, I think I have Paget's disease, which is essentially cancer of the nipple. And she said, that's very, very rare. I don't think so. It's, when you're going through perimenopause, dryness and dry skin, it's a total thing. We all know that. Yes. But she was fantastic and said, let's get the mammogram. Let's do the ultrasound. So at that time, that wouldn't have been, regular for my age. So she got me in urgently, which was great. They did both the ultrasound and the mammogram, and they did find concerns in the mammogram, enough to send me to a surgeon. So that was fine. It still wasn't a lump per se. So we went and spoke to her, and there were one thing I hope a lot of people do learn about breast cancer is the issue of dense breasts. So I ended up having very dense breasts. No one really talks about that. I think women are starting to, and doctors are starting to more. But what they said to me is, your breasts are so dense, it's like looking, trying to drive through a really bad snowstorm and see your way ahead. So I went to a surgeon and I said, I just really think there's something on the nipple. Because one thing a mammogram doesn't do, it doesn't have anything to do with the nipple. So I said, my girlfriend came with me. a friend of ours, and she had come to a lot of the appointments just because I knew I wasn't really going to take everything in. So she was taking notes. And I remember saying to her, do not let me leave that office without having a nipple biopsy.
Yeah.
And so she brought it up, and the doctor said, you can do it if you want, but it's going to kill. And I'm sort of at the 50-50 stage of this is what the doctor said. I said, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because I just felt in my gut, it's Paget's disease. So long story short, it was. So it was one of the more painful things I've ever experienced, actually, but well worth it in hindsight. And so when you're diagnosed with Paget's disease, it always means that there's a secondary form of breast cancer. So I worked with the clinical team who were amazing, and they tested and tested and tested and did things until we found it. And essentially it was early stage, which was fantastic, but widespread. And we didn't know till after the pathology that it was quite aggressive. So it really came to a point where, so yes, it was cancer, which funny enough, funny, not funny, was the doctor said, yes, it's Paget's disease and yes, it's breast cancer. And we were about to leave it, and Susie was writing in the notes. And I came back and I said, so I'm not sure. I do or I don't have cancer. Like I'm not really sure what just happened here.
Right.
And so you see that in the movie, you see it on TV. Yeah. And it was actually I think your brain just stops. She said, you do.
You do.
I said, Susie, write that down.
Yeah.
So we remember. And so from there, comes the journey of next steps. And so, for me, I was fortunate because I didn't need to get chemo or radiation, and I had a double mastectomy. They were able to get everything. And, I've had a few surgeries since then with some things that didn't go totally according to plan. But so that was sort of 2019. Wow. And then into 2020, and the surgeries ended, I think the last one was 2023.
Okay.
For that.
Okay. So that's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot to go through for me. It's a lot for my kids. It's a lot for my husband. It's a lot for my parents.
Yes.
It's a lot for my friends. It's a lot for the kid's dad. It's a lot for everybody. Mm-hmm. And so, it just kind of my brother and his family. Right. And, it just really focuses, things come into laser focus, and you just do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And in those moments, like amazing things happen too.
Yeah.
Right? Amazing things happen. Right. And people show up in ways that you don't even know you needed them to.
Right.
And honestly, some of the most beautiful memories I have of my dad in the last few years were during that time. Mm. I know he didn't know specifically what was happening. But he knew I needed support.
Yeah.
And he was right there with my mom, who is caring for her husband.
Right.
As, between she and my brother, they were dealing with my dad and me. And anyway, but my dad was always there. He would lay in bed with me and watch movies. Yeah. If I was doing exercises after, he would be down on the ground doing them with me. He was, making sure there was a blanket on me. And he said to me a few years before when there was something else happening, and he said, I don't know what's happening, but I know something's happening.
Yeah.
And you need to know I love you.
That's amazing.
So lots of things. My sister-in-law came, took a week off work, flew from Quebec and stayed with us. You and many of our friends, kind of made sure I was never alone in the house, that someone was always there, looking after, checking with my parents.
Yes.
My employer was amazing. I mean, so many lovely things.
Right. Yeah. And you found a way to find the positive.
Yeah.
I do remember your dad lying in bed next to you. That was so sweet. And he knew something was needed, right?
It was in the end of November, and I had my feet, I remember lying down, I had a blanket on, but my feet were sticking out. And he went and got his mittens and put them on my feet. And it was such a gesture of love.
Oh, so amazing. Oh, wow. Okay. So you come out of the other side of breast cancer.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a few years because
Yeah.
there's various other significant surgeries that happen.
Yes.
So it brings it back, and you come out the other side from a medical perspective, and then
Yes.
there's just the dealing with it
The everything
piece.
else.
So that was at the end of 2019, and in 2020, my mom had some health things that meant we needed some additional support to help with my dad. It was during COVID.
Ugh.
And so we all hunkered down, spent a lot of time together as a family. My brother was here. We were all together, all hands on deck, just, figuring it out, which was, again, like, what a gift, right?
Yes.
And not long after, my dad had a turn for the worse and was in the hospital and ultimately in hospice, which, again, a beautiful thing was we were able to be with him.
Yes.
And we were able to stay all of the days and sleep overnight. And they allowed us to be with him when there were so many restrictions for people. So again, like, what an opportunity. And he died.
Yeah. I know. He's a wonderful man. And
he died at the end of 2020, just before Christmas. And we were with him, and it was, again, a peaceful death, all you could ever really wish for. And then all the other things come. My mom had been a caregiver for many years, and her life was totally different. They went to high school together. Her person,
yes, absolutely,
was gone.
Yeah.
And so we figured it out. She moved in with us. We moved on. But there was a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah. You move forward.
You move. Yeah, that's right. You move forward. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone who's navigated grief knows there's no playbook. It's different for each of us. Just when you think you've it figured out, it takes you to your knees. So it was tough. So the following summer, so now we're in the summer of 2021, my mom and I and my daughter, who was 14 at the time, went to Prince Edward Island, where we have a family cottage.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is a slice of heaven.
It is, exactly.
That,
you stole my words.
It's just got such a special place in all of our, our whole family, and anyone who kind of knows us knows that's our heart. And it was a place that my dad had made happen for us as a family. And my parents had spent over 40 years there. Oh. And it was a piece of land that they eventually, year after year, with their heart and soul, they built a beautiful cottage for us. So it represented them a lot. It represented him a lot. It was our first trip back since his death.
Yes.
So there's all the things that go with that. Mm-hmm. And again, it's COVID, so the three of us drive out with their dog, and, it's great. We get there, and it is a sanctuary to him in many ways, which brought comfort, and it brought it all, back. It had only back. There's another wave. There's another wave. And it was also about 40 degrees, I feel. It was really, really humid. No air conditioning. This is a pretty, rustic kind of living. And we did feel like there was things that needed to get done. I mean, my dad was awesome, and he had a lot of stuff, especially at the cottage. And he had one whole shed area that, honestly, unbelievable, the amount of, I think Canadian Tire must have taken a hit that next year when he wasn't there to support them. So we had done a lot of work clearing things out, and it was humid, right? And so, I also probably wasn't in the best of shape, having just gone through everything else. I hadn't been doing a lot. And I remember, in hindsight now, I remember that going and looking in a mirror and seeing a vein on my forehead that was constantly protruding. And to the point that I even took a picture of it and sent it home to Glenn and said, what do you think that is?
Yeah.
It's it's hot. When you can almost, when it's so hot, you almost feel your head.
Yeah.
So it was that. A few days later, I was working from out there. We had just had a nice dinner, the three of us, and we'd played a game of cards. Like, it was a very low key, chill evening. My mom was talking on the phone. My daughter and I were sitting on the couch, and I think I was on my phone, probably, doom scrolling or something. And I remember saying to Libby, I don't feel very well. Just kind of nauseous, just not right. Like, not super terrible, just like something feels off. I just don't feel great. And, but I mean, nothing, we didn't do anything about it. She went and did her thing. So the longer I sat there, I started feeling worse and worse. And then I thought, my breathing started laboring a little bit. And I thought, I think I'm having a panic attack, which has happened before. And it often happens not in the moment of the panic. And so I thought, okay, I do have a lot of stress. I knew, the grief of my dad's death had hit me very, very hard. So I knew that, probably this is my body. And I am someone who I think definitely the body keeps the score. So I thought, okay, I'll just sort of meditate. And I started doing the box breathing, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4.
I know it's very well.
Yeah. And it's an awesome tool.
It does.
And it honestly didn't not help, but it wasn't super helping. So I thought, okay, I'm having a panic attack. My mom was on the phone with my aunt, and Libby was in another room. And then I started feeling a lot of pressure. Like, not like they say an elephant sitting on your lap, but pressure on my chest from the front and then also from the back. So again, not debilitating, just pressure. And so I thought, this is weird. This is probably not great. And it wasn't long later that I felt something in my arms. And again, I wouldn't say it wasn't pain, but it was a discomfort is the only way I can really say it. And it came in both my arms at the same time, so bilaterally, from sort of my elbows down.
Okay.
And it was like a heaviness, a discomfort. And then I thought, I don't think this is really good. So, but it is interesting what the brain protects you from, and how you, in hindsight, you look back and think, it's interesting how you process that in the moment. So I did look went back to my friend Google. Yeah. Who had not led me astray the first time. We actually nailed it. Dr. Google and I. So feeling pretty confident about my Google skills. I did put in what are the what's the word I'm looking for? Thank you. Symptoms of a heart attack for a woman.
Yes.
I thought, I've got quite a few of these. I didn't have things like nausea or anything like that. So I thought, I think I better call telehealth.
Yeah.
So I got on the phone with telehealth and I waited. I was on what I didn't realize at the time was it was really for all the Maritimes. It wasn't just for Prince Edward Island. So I was on hold for a long time. And then I got a feeling in my jaw and my mouth. So again, I don't know how to describe it other than it was like my tongue muscle was strained, I guess. So again, it wasn't like a shooting pain.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that. It was this like intense, almost muscular tension in my mouth. So I mean, I've seen enough Grey's Anatomy to know this is not good.
Yeah.
So at that point, I thought, I think maybe we got to do something here. So I went and interrupted my mom, who was on the phone. I said, I think I'm having a panic attack. And right away, she looked at me and said, okay, we got to go to the hospital. And she said to my aunt, we have to go. And Libby came down and we went to the hospital. We're about probably on a regular day, a 40-minute drive to the hospital in Charlottetown. And it's pretty dark. It was, and my mom wasn't really a night driver, and she was driving like a bat out of hell.
Yes.
It was, I was almost more concerned about the driving at a certain point than I was about the actual symptoms, because I wasn't sure they were going to matter much longer. So partway through, I was in the back seat, and Libby was holding my hand the whole time, and my mom was driving like a maniac. And the telehealth people came through finally. And I explained everything, and they said, well, we think you should pull over and we'll send an ambulance. I said, I don't think an ambulance will go as fast as I'm currently going. I think we'll just plow on. Yeah. So that's what we did. But they had called ahead to the hospital. So long story, I got to the hospital. It was packed like they always are in Emerge. But they did see me quickly and right away gave me an aspirin and had me do EKG. And, sent me back. But it was pretty quick that they called me in. And again, totally not, I really wasn't thinking heart attack because by then I was sort of feeling a little bit better and I knew I was in a good place. But again, it's COVID. So they're out there, I'm in there. And I probably don't remember, I know I don't remember everything, but a doctor came to me and said, I need to tell you something and it's not very good news. I said, oh, okay. And I was in a room by myself and he said, we think there's something wrong with the heart. I said, oh, okay. Yeah. And he said, so we're going to run more tests and it's probably a good idea that your family doesn't stay for the night. Like I think we got you for the night. So you let them, head back. So at that point, I'm just texting them and saying, they're going to keep me for observation. It's already like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. Why don't you guys head back to the cottage? So off they went. Yeah. And then they said, we're just going to move you to a trauma bay and we're going to put you just closer to the nurses. Sure. Okay. It really wasn't, nothing was, like I wasn't panicking. I wasn't worrying. I wasn't. So I was, in those beds and then there's a curtain and then there's someone else who's got something. And anyway, there was a lot going on to keep myself distracted into other people's business for sure, rather than focusing on myself. So I made it through the night. There were a few ups and downs through the night, but generally we make it through the night. And I did sleep a little bit. And I woke up the next morning to a doctor standing over me who was I guess he was a cardiologist. Yes. And he said, I need to tell you that you've had a heart attack. This was about 7 a.m. I remember thinking, oh, okay. Oh. I need to tell you that you've had a heart attack. We just don't know what kind. It could be, I always remember saying, it could be your old garden variety kind of like heart disease. Yeah. It could be something called SCAD, or it could be something else. But we are not a cardiology hospital here. So you're going to need to go to New Brunswick, to St. John, New Brunswick, where there's a cardiology center. I said, well, okay, but you need to know that I don't have my second COVID shot, so I'm actually not allowed in New Brunswick because on the way through, they had been very clear with us. At most, you drive right through, no stopping, like no going in a hotel, no going in a restaurant. So I said, I don't know that they'll accept me. And I remember him saying, I think it will be fine. I think we're going to be able to call some people and we're going to make sure you're able to get there. Okay, but I don't know. Like, it just shows like what wasn't sinking in. Yeah. So they said, we're leaving, so we're just calling the ambulance. So I called my mom and my daughter. And I remember saying, like, I need a charger. Again, like, what are you focusing on? Right? Yeah. So they came with some clothes and a few things. And essentially they put me in an ambulance. And there was a few scary moments right before where they had the paddles out and that kind of thing. But then they said, we're going to drive you. It's a 5-hour drive. We're going to be lights on until we get off the island. And then we'll be it'll be clear. We won't need the sirens going the whole time. It just all happened. It just all happened. And I remember getting into the, like them wheeling me into the ambulance. And my mom and my daughter were gone. I'd called the kid's dad because I wanted him to know, obviously, and I wanted my son to know. But I remember my son was interviewing for a job at like No Frills. Oh, I was like, oh no, like you can't tell until after the No Frills interview.
Right. Distracted.
Yeah, exactly. Or wherever it was. Yes. So, and then of course I called Glenn. So off we go. But they gave me an Ativan because my nerves were pretty shot. And when I woke up, I was in St. John and they said, we have never had anyone sleep for the whole 5 hours. So anyway, I was in a cardiac intensive care unit in St. John. And I literally knew no one in the province. Yeah. So it was, talk about isolating.
Yeah.
It was isolating. It was also a way to sort of not make it any of it true. I mean, I FaceTimed a little bit, but I was in a room by myself.
Yeah.
Very little interaction on doctors. I didn't know what it was still. I eventually was told that it was SCAD. And
Okay.
so which has a different protocol for,
Okay. And so
sorry.
that's okay. For those of us that don't quite understand SCAD, because it's not really like heart attack, get it,
Right.
can understand it.
Yeah.
What is SCAD?
Thank goodness I got that charger because I was able to do a lot of research from that
boy.
hospital room and read a lot actually about it. So, and again, I'm no expert. I am no doctor. I only know what I think I know, so don't take any of this as the gospel. But my understanding is that SCAD is quite rare, and it may be quite rare because it has been underdiagnosed. It may not actually be as rare as it is, but not a lot of doctors know to look for it. I think it's becoming slightly more known about now. Typically is like over 90% is women.
Okay.
Seems to be primarily in the areas of postpartum and perimenopausal, postmenopausal women.
Okay.
So at times probably with stress, at times where there's different hormones and hormonal levels changing through the body. They don't know for certain.
Yes.
But what happens is it's not from plaque or it's not from like a lifestyle or that kind of thing. It literally, the artery just dissects, sort of blows. And they don't know why then, that kind of thing. So that's what happened when I was sitting on the couch that day. I guess that's when it happened. And so there's lots of different approaches on how to best tackle it. Do you do nothing? Some people end up with an angiogram and stents. They were going to do that. I had read in my 48 hours of deep dive that wasn't necessarily, so I kind of pushed back on whether I needed that. And they said, okay, let's not.
Yes.
And a few days later when I was discharged, I wish now that I had taken the pieces of paper or written down more. He drew the heart and this is where it happened and this and that. And again, I was like, okay, got
Sounds
it.
good.
Yeah, I did take the little piece of paper, but it really doesn't mean anything if you're not in the moment because it was his scribbles. And I went back to, Glenn had come and he took me back and we drove back to PEI. So that was sort of that. But when, one thing I feel like one story that has meant the world to me, and I think of so often, just as far as community and that kind of thing, when you were mentioning that, was, again, I was in that hospital. I think actually they didn't give me a charger, which was the problem. And our friend Susie works for a telecom provider in Canada. And I said to her, she was in Toronto. I said, I don't have a charger. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And she arranged for someone in her company from Nova Scotia to find somebody, and somehow, miraculously, a charger showed up. And then a day or so later, the nurses came to my door and said, "You have a visitor." I said, "I don't think I really do, actually."
Wrong door.
And they said, "No, you do." I said, "I don't know anyone in this province. I'm pretty sure it's not me." They said, "You've got a visitor." So a man came in, introduced himself to me as Pastor Fred.
Oh.
And I said, "Okay." And he said, "I've been sent through a friend of a friend from your friend, Aaron." Wow. And Aaron is a man that is a very dear friend, but I also worked with at the time. And he said, Aaron wanted to send someone to provide you some comfort. Wow. Okay. And so as we were talking about everything, and he was telling me about, he was a local guy from St. John, and he eventually said, "Can I pray with you?" Which of course I said, I would be honored.
Yeah.
And Glenn was with me at the time. He had come, and so he was with me when he did that. And it was totally comforting. And this man didn't know us from anyone. And I said, "How do you know Aaron?" And he said, "I don't." Aaron had a friend whose friend knows a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And through that, they found me here and asked if I would come in. And of course.
That's amazing.
Of course. And anything you need. So it was I will always remember that Aaron did that and that all those people along that chain who didn't know me did that.
Yeah.
And that Pastor Fred took time out of his day to come and sit on my bed and hold my hand.
Yeah.
And pray with us.
That's amazing.
It was beautiful. And it was the most, I have never lost the magic of that. I'll hold that always really tight. So these are the things that.
These are the gifts.
These are the gifts. These are the moments. These are the reminders. These are the things when you hear about someone else and you think, oh, I don't want to bother them or I don't want to do something. I'm sure they've got lots of people. Do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it
Absolutely.
matters.
It definitely does. Okay. So that's a lot of 5 years.
That's a lot of 5 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and then there's the whole, you're back in Ontario and guess what? Our health system doesn't talk to the New Brunswick health system and you don't have any of your files. And so now what? You had to, it was a lot of advocating for myself.
Yes.
It was took months to get my medical records. And through the Google, I found a doctor out of Sunnybrook who was one of the few SCAD specialists in Canada. And she agreed to see me. And through a very dear friend, I found another cardiologist who agreed to see me, who was also a cardiologist who does a lot of research in breast cancer.
Okay.
So there was an amazing combination. He got me into a wonderful program at Women's College for, what do they call it? Cardiac rehab. Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
And so between the two of them, we got things going, but it took time and, getting meds organized but I've been followed by great people and continue to be followed by
It's amazing.
great people and have met interesting folks, and at different times you're ready for different supports. And so at one time I did a support group through the Ottawa Health Institute and with Just for Women with SCAD. I got introduced to a woman who is a friend to this day, and yet we've never met in person through Women's College, sorry. And she'd also had a SCAD and said to the cardiac rehab people, if someone else comes in. And it's been many years now that we are texting friends, and one day we will get together. And it's not just the SCAD thing. Now we've gone through both. My dad had Alzheimer's, her parents.
Yes.
It just ended up that life kind of kept us woven together.
Yes. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've come through the 5 years.
I've come through no. Oh, I've come through that 5 years. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And now, you're here.
I'm here.
And you're doing
With
great.
Belza.
And you're thriving. And through all of that, are there... I'm sure, first of all, you've learned a ton about yourself, about the importance of advocating and listening to your body and all of that. But as you sit here today, is there major changes that you've taken in your life not that you can't prevent SCAD. That's one of the unfortunate things. Really,
there's a lot of things you can't prevent. And I think I'm a recovering work in progress control freak. And I think we think we have the ability to control a lot of things in our lives. And what has become crystal clear to me is that that's really not that true. Whether that was breast cancer, my dad's illness, my dad's death, the SCAD, lots of different things that have happened to me, to my family, to friends, to people we know. We can't control them. So what you can do is learn from them, keep that in perspective. And that's easy to say. And sure, in a wise moment, I could say all of those things, and that's true. And yet you easily go back to your own coping mechanisms, your own ways of dealing, and stress creeps in and all the things. I think one of the things that I try and remember, and I think I do an okay job of remembering, which is that the little things are really the big things. So, it's the little things, like Erin probably thought calling a friend, that was a big thing.
Yes.
The night that after my breast cancer surgery, I remember all of you came over and you all wore your pajamas.
We did.
And because I was in my pajamas, and we watched whatever the hell you wanted to watch. I think it was a hockey game or something. Like there are so many, my dad put the things on my feet, my sister-in-law, my brother, my colleagues, my kids.
Yeah.
They're not all big things in and of themselves, but man, do they matter. And they've taught me valuable lessons about showing up for people, telling people how you care, doing the thing and not worrying about how it will land. So those things for sure. And I think the other thing for me has been, and again, not just because of this, but I thought about death a lot. When I was a single mom going in with the breast, I remember writing, I had a will, but all the things, even with the heart, like just hoping that it's all going to be okay. So I spent a lot of time thinking about death when my dad died, when Glenn's mom died, when things happened to people. And for me, it continues to be something that interests me from trying to figure out, what do I believe?
Yes.
Because I need to find comfort. I don't want to be scared of it. It's inevitable for all of us. It's another thing we cannot control. So, I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of listening. I've taken some courses. And I feel like slowly but surely I'm coming to a place where I know what I believe.
Okay.
And it brings me huge comfort. It takes the fear. It's taking the fear of it away for me. And when I hear of stories or I think of people that I've lost or what may happen or what could happen, for me, I don't want to say I'm okay with it at all, because that would be an enormous stretch. But it's something that I really want to continue to work through so that I can come to a place where I have a set of beliefs that for me resonate.
Yes.
And kind of help me navigate some really challenging situations that we all face, whether it's head on or something you hear about or someone you know. So for me, that's been something that has helped me self-reflect a little bit and just kind of figure out how I navigate the world. And, we're at an age and stage where more people are starting to have things, or you hear more stories, and I don't know. So, but that for me has been a journey of comfort.
That's very good. You're going to have to teach me that, because I'm still in the major state of fear. So my last question for you is, what would be your words of wisdom for the audience, given everything you've learned through these, I would say, the pivotal period, as you said?
Well, I think I learned this through the pivotal period, and I do very much believe it, is I do think we all have the answers inside us, most times. And I would say, listen to your heart, listen to your gut. I think, they say the whispers get louder if you don't pick them up, and then gets louder. And eventually you might have to get bonked on the head to get your attention, and you will get your attention. But I would say, listen to your gut. I feel proud of myself that I just knew in both situations, this is something. And I don't know that especially with the breast situation, I let a year and a half go, but I knew. So I think that's what I would say is like, spend the time honoring yourself and the voice that you have within you, and act on that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm grateful you're here on so many levels. And it's been a journey.
It's been a journey. And I just need to say thank you to you and Mark. And, we have an amazing group of friends.
We do.
But you two have, you've held space for me, my family. You are our family. I mean, there are, as we were talking about before we started taping, I've lost count of how many times you've been the ones that we've called, for my mom, for my dad, for any of us. And I'm so thankful that you are my person. I'm thankful for your whole family, and that we even have a broader group of people around us who all, we're very, very blessed. But thank you for having me and being persistent with me coming here.
I wasn't letting you get away.
No,
with
I know
not
you
telling
weren't.
the story.
So, it was good. It's made me think and have a little bit more time to self-reflect. And so I appreciate your patience, and thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. And I am so glad you're here. I'm grateful for your friendship, and will always be your person, and you will always be my person. So I'm not letting you get away with it.
I love you guys.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I don't know about you, but I didn't manage to make it through this episode without shedding more than a few tears. Thank you to Tara for the powerful reminder that our bodies often speak long before we're ready to listen, and that we're not meant to navigate life's hardest moments alone. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone you care about, and be sure to subscribe so you can continue to hear more pivotal stories involving one question, one turning point, one powerful story. I'll see you next week with another guest on the Leslie Hawkins podcast.